Okay, good. So thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Venanzio. Um, Thank you also to Gianluca Brugnoli, who was home listening, that gave me the opportunity. Very nice to meeting you all. And my name is Sebastiano, and I'm the head of user experience design for the Milan Aesthetic Research Center of Huawei. Unfortunately, I cannot show much of what we do. Actually, I cannot show anything because we are a very advanced research center, so what we do is highly confidential. We are a cross-disciplinary design team. Our goal is to imagine the future for Huawei and for products. And what we're going to talk today, it's of course about UX, it's about automotive, but most of all, it's about the future, and more specifically, the future for us designers. So talking about cars, what was it? I mean, the future for me it looked like flying cars. The car of the future was a car that could fly and like overcome. Can I take? Okay, wonderful. A flying car able to overcome all the traffic and traveling at light speed. Unfortunately, Robert Zemeckis didn't get it right. I mean, the future of the car is ambitious, but it's not about flying cars. It's about cars that can drive autonomously without us being in control. This is not only a breakthrough in terms of technology, but it's a change in the experience that we have in the car. So the car is no more like a means of transportation, so something that takes us from point A to point B, but becomes a space to have different experiences while we're going from point A to point B. Because we are not going to drive anymore, but where is it? Here.
Che mezzo, esatto. No, se clicchi di lato, esatto.
Okay. So this is like just an example of a concept car that's been presented this year at Munich Automotive mess from Audi. It's a self-driving car. You can already start seeing that there is no steering wheel. There is a steering wheel, but it's hidden. And the car starts looking more like a living room rather than a car, a traditional car. But unfortunately, we are not there yet. Okay, not today. This is not happening. We are still far from there. So forget about like imagining yourself in this situation, sleeping or doing, watching a movie or like having a party with your friends. This is not going to happen very soon. Why? Well, because to get to that point, we need technology to move forward quite a lot. At the moment, I don't know if you can see on the screen, but we have like 6 levels of autonomous car. Right now, we are in between level 2 and level 3. And this is quite, it's a quite big step between level 2 and level 3, because what is the difference? The difference is that in level 2 cars, you have like assistance while you're driving, but you have to keep your hands on the wheel. From level 3 on, the driver is not going to keep the hands on the wheel anymore. So the car starts like acting autonomously. This doesn't mean that the technology isn't there. It's already there. What you see on the screen are like 4 examples of different electric autonomous vehicles with different like let's say complexity, starting from Tesla, which is level 2, the Model S, and the Mercedes, that model that I can't even read, it's the S-Class level 3, and which is allowed to circulate in some areas. It's partially allowed. Same thing for the Tesla. While on the level 4 and level 5, we have Waymo, that was like started by Google, and it's a fully autonomous car. There is still a steering wheel, and the car, through the sensors and artificial intelligence, can act autonomously. And Zoox, which is like the most advanced level 5 cars, there is no steering wheel anymore. There is no front and rear. It's basically it's a living room on wheels. But to understand a little bit better, like the complexity, a car to be autonomous needs to have a lot of technology inside, a lot of sensors that are like little eyes that allow the car to understand, to see where it's going, to understand the context through artificial intelligence. I mean, what you see in the top left corner is like actually what a LiDAR is a sensor. What you see is how it interprets surroundings. But technology, when we talk about technology for autonomous vehicles, we cannot talk only about like what's happening in the car. For this to happen, we need also the environment to be able to support this, so infrastructures. And this is like even more complex. 5G is enabling this, but still, I mean, it's a very long process. There are areas where the roads, the highways have been like are supporting the technology for testing purposes, of course. And there's this nice project. It's at the European level. It's called Sea Road. So 16 countries, they are testing on like some part of highways. Also in Italy, we are doing it on the Brennero highway. So they are putting technology in to test self-driving vehicles. So the road is quite long. So you might ask yourself what Huawei has to do with all this. We make phones. Most of you knows this company for phones. But the truth is that Huawei is a very big company. It makes not only consumer products, but also cloud services, infrastructures. It's like a giant octopus that can provide technologies at very different levels. So from us, like mortals, to governments, smart cities, and anything. And recently, there is like a new like area of expertise, which is called HI, Huawei Insight, that has the mission not to build autonomous vehicles, but to be the best-in-class partner for car makers to provide them with technology for electric self-driving vehicles. Just a few examples that these are like some of the things that we make in terms of like sensors, all the technology to put inside the car to read like the surroundings. And just as a case, you can look online for this model of car. Is called Ceres S5. This is an example of a joint venture between Huawei and a Californian car maker. So they make cars. They are good at doing that. We are good in technology. We work together to be even better. So what Huawei did with Ceres was to provide all the sensors, all the technology for this electric vehicle. and also the operating system, which is at the moment it's called HiCar. It's a sort of like Apple CarPlay. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but basically it's a system that allows to connect to your smartphone and mirror some of the features on the car, which is different from having like an operating system that is decoupled from the hardware. What is happening at the moment in traditional, let's say, car making is that the operating system is embedded in the hardware. This makes it very difficult to upgrade and has a lot of limitation. When you decouple, so you separate the operating system from the hardware, that enables like a lot of more like complex, more interesting things that we can do also as designers. Because basically, I mean, what people expectations are for the future of car is to have the same type of experience that they have on their smartphone, on their tablet. They want to have the same applications. They want to have the same interactions. And this is possible if you decouple, if you separate the software from the hardware. And this is what we are going to do. The new series that will be launched in 2022 will be the first car mounting Harmony OS operating system, which is the Huawei operating system that you find on smartphones, on tablet devices, on smart devices. So for us designers, I mean, this is like a new golden age. Because there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do because, well, I want you to make like a comparison because when we talk about innovation, innovation goes in cycles, okay? And I really like to talk about innovation using like these two characters. Because in automotive now is happening what's happened at the early 2000s with the smartphones. So when Apple launched the first iPhone, well, Apple didn't have any experience in doing smartphones. They were doing computers. Nokia, Ericsson. I don't know if you remember. BlackBerry. Okay, you have like analog keyboard, you have a screen. Okay, 2007. I mean, iPhone wipes everything out. Okay, this is the smartphone. And this is a pattern that we find in innovation, that disruption doesn't happen inside the market. There is like an outer entity that is able to like interpret where the future is going, and then create disruption. Okay, same thing. I mean, that gentleman over there from South Africa, the same thing he did with many businesses, but especially with automotive. Okay, so in 2012 he said, you engineers from Europe, you keep on working on your interiors, on your engines. Okay, this is the future of automotive. This is Tesla. Okay, so, and this is like, I don't know if you can see an image from 2012 that you can see like side by side, like a BMW X5 compared to a Tesla Model S. So we have a lot of differences happening here. In BMW, we have very cluttered and fragmented experience. We have different embedded softwares. We didn't have an operating system. The experience was very poor. Analog type of input, peripherals, digital screens. On the other hand, Tesla simplified, streamlined the technology, the experience, unified the operating system and the user experience. And it brought like a tablet-style interaction to the automotive world. And of course, the possibility to update regularly the operating system. So fast forward 10 years, okay, traditional car makers, they are trying to improve, they're trying to keep up with the new direction of the market. And not always they succeed. I mean, I've chosen this example intentionally. I saw it in Munich this year. I mean, this is like an overkill on the under the user experience perspective. I mean, just look at the steering wheel. I mean, from the projection you can't see really well, but there's like 100 buttons. I mean, can you imagine driving and trying to figure out what you have to press without crashing? Okay, and this hyper screen, still with some analog metaphors in the cluster. You see like the speedometers. While, I mean, Tesla is the new Model S or the new Model 3, I mean, completely minimal experience, maybe too much. But of course, I mean, Tesla is not the only best practice. There are a lot of brands that are doing, like good like work in terms of in-car user experience. And of course, Tesla is not the only like model to follow. There are different archetypes that we can see, like different patterns that are constantly applied nowadays. So from 2 screen setups to here you can see different examples to like more advanced with 3 screen setups. We have Lucy there. The previous example is an American luxury concept car. Then we have the Porsche Taycan, which was the first one, and this is like a Chinese Li 1 car. So when software like is taking over the car, technology is taking over the car, these like create a lot of complexity. So for us designer, this means a lot of work because we need to consider a lot of different use cases that did not exist in the past. So the driving experience extends to what happens before driving, but also what happens after the driving experience. These, I mean, without going too much into detail, I mean, this means that as a designer have more work to do. Okay, it's more complex. There's a higher degree of complexity that we need to deal with, and a lot of like new things that we need to consider. Okay, so if we are not driving anymore, we still need to be to keep like attention. We are more distracted. We have new ways of interacting with the car. We can use voice. We have artificial intelligence embedded in the car, taking decisions. And again, the expectation from people to sit inside the car and have like the same type of experience that they have when they are playing with their smartphone or their tablets. They want to have like this sense of being part of an ecosystem. If you see, I mean, car is getting more complex, technology. I mean, you don't see it, but the top line that you see, the longest line, are the lines of codes that you need for a car now, which is way higher than an operating system or a space shuttle. And projections say that by 2030, like 50% of the cost of cars will be for technology. So this means that, guys, car with brushes. Prepare to that. Not only Windows users will experience that, but also car owners will experience that. And another thing that as designers we need to consider. Well, that gentleman from South Africa, Elon Musk, he opened the gates. But what's happening in China is going at double speed with respect to what is happening here in Europe. We are more conservative. I mean, our brand are established. They struggle a bit to innovate because of their heritage, because they've been doing automotive in a way for many years. But in China, they have a completely different approach to technology. So we need to also, as designers, I mean, this is my point of view. First of all, is not a pro-China campaign, absolutely, but I experience it every day. I mean, Chinese people, Asian people in general, they have different expectations towards technology. They have a completely different approach. They are more open. So while they are still like doing like concept cars, like the mini Urbanaut concept of like this futuristic living space, in China they are already putting in production cars that allow you to like recline the chairs, to have a sort of bed, have a screen like rolling out, and enjoy a movie. So for them, the car is already like a living space, which is something completely different for us. Maybe hard to understand because we have different habits, but also have a different approach to things. So traditionally, like car, also the way they communicate, they wear, the way they intend design, it's pretty serious. It's pretty traditional or conventional. Chinese or Asian people, they have a different take on it. I mean, what you see on the left, I don't know if you're familiar, there's a brand called Neo. It's a joint venture between a European Chinese company, and they have this in-car assistant that it's a sort of like physical mascot with a screen that moves and have different faces, and they are all customizing this assistant with different hats. You see that. So they have a very playful approach to technology and also to cars. So I want to end this speech with this quote. I mean, this is like a sentence that I hear very often. So is the car the new smartphone? And well, the technology is there, the user experience not yet. So what does it mean? For us designers, for you, this means opportunity. Because, I mean, there's a lot of things to do. And this is the end. Thank you very much.
So,